Hey folks, Stacy here at the Battle Axe channel. Guys, I want to come with you today with a word of correction and encouragement as to what I've been hearing on YouTube, many YouTube channels, again, just sensationalism and fear. And I'm going to come to you with a little more level-headed perspective from somebody in agriculture, somebody who grows on a yearly basis for 50 to 100 families. All right. Now, I'm not a huge producer, right? But I'm a producer and somebody who works in the dairy industry for a wonderful family farm. There's a lot of misinformation going around about the fertilizer cost. Fact, yes, fertilizer costs have gone up. They've doubled, not just doubled, but sometimes tripled in price, depending on what state you're at. Now there's been a fire and people are making a big deal out of this and saying this was planned. Guys, the fertilizer companies start on fire all the time, just as mills start on fire all the time, because they have huge combustible products, number one. In the mill case, right, you got grain, you got feeds, you got corn and things like this. They have to go through a huge heater that uses propane and other combustible gases to do it. These things start on fire sometimes, either by human error or just because they age out. And guess what? All over the world, there has historically been, since chemical fertilizers have been made, there are chemical fertilizer explosions and fires. I do not for one second believe that what is happening right now about that is some sort of a domestic attack or what have you. It's just a fact of the matter that crap happens. You're dealing with chemicals. I'm also going to give a stern rebuttal to you YouTubers out there that are saying that if you need to get out there and buy these chemical fertilizers now, or you're going to not be able to grow any food and you're going to starve. Guys, that is a bunch of nonsense. We have, as humans, have been growing food without chemical fertilizer or pesticides since the beginning of creation, since we were plucked out of the sands of the earth by God, and he said that you will toil with the soil. And guys, this is just a small portion of what I do, right? This is all done. Look at here. Here's my brassicas. It's my broccoli. These are some beans right here. I very much do crop rotation and I separate a lot. I have a lot of stuff here and there to keep from disease and things like that. These are some tomatoes. There's some more tomatoes here. All of that done right here, guys. Little baby arugula there. Everything I do is done without chemical fertilizers and without chemical pesticides. Now, folks, I'm completely rebuking and coming against these YouTube channels out there that say I'm a gardener my whole life, and if you need to get out there and buy these chemicals now or you're going to starve. It's just nonsense. I'm posting this both to my Battle Axe channel because this does have a political aspect to it, and again, a preparedness aspect to it. And I'm also going to be posting this to my Sustainable Steward channel because that is a more tutorial based type of sustainable gardening where I show you how to do what I do here without using those things. But guys, I am one that will come to you and tell you when there's legit threats, right? But this fertilizer issue is not a legit threat. It just isn't. What is going to happen, mark my words, because inflation's happening. The US government is going to come in. And if you're worried about the big producers, big ag, the US government's going to come in, they're going to save the day. They're going to highly subsidize the big farms. And all those excessive prices on the chemical fertilizers, if that's what you support and that's what you want, will be covered by your tax money. The farms aren't going to go out of business. Who will go out of business, and it won't be because of the fertilizer, is small sustainable farmers, because of the corporate farms pushing our regulatory agencies and our government to impose more regulations, taxes, push them out. But this fertilizer issue is, while it's a challenge, it is not going to put the vast majority of farmers out of business, not remotely. And here's another aspect of this that people are not considering. There is a huge move in agriculture to become more sustainable. There is, my employer's himself, he has a good vast majority of his acreage, and he farms a lot of acres for the size farm he is, because he's not just feeding dairy cows, he's also selling and doing cash crops. So he's got a good chunk of that in no-till. There are things that people are doing, farmers are doing to mitigate these costs, such as no-till, crop rotation, crop planting, and having a biodiversity there where you have one crop, say squash over here, that traps the squash beetles over here, but keeps them from the cucumber beetles. There's just all this stuff which I explain in detail on Sustainable Stewards. But guys, the sky is not falling here. You do not need to go out and buy chemical fertilizers. What you need to do is you need to today, because there is, and it's not a seed shortage. We have no seed shortages. We have transportation issues. We have, the marketing issues is what's going on. And what you need to do is go to Fedco Seeds, Johnny Seeds. You can go to Baker Seeds. I don't use Bakers. They're a little too expensive for my blood. Good seeds, but they're too expensive for me. You can get heirloom seeds at Fedco Seed for half the price. And Fedco Seeds is a farmer-owned cooperative. So it goes directly to the farms. There's Annie Seeds, and I'm going to say it on this channel, just as I've said on Sustainable Stewards. You need to buy seeds from the companies that are in like climate as you. I'm in Wisconsin, so I don't buy seeds from Baker Seeds or Southern Exposure. I buy seeds from Annie Seeds out of Michigan, and or Johnny Seeds out of Maine in my like climate. That's what you need to do. But so you guys need to get online. You need to pick your seeds out in accordance to the garden planning that you do just before that, what you're going to plant, how much you're going to plant. You can go to Sustainable Stewards. I have videos from last winter explaining for a family of 4 to 5 how much of each seed or crop, say strawberries or blueberries, you need to plant, how many foot rows, so that you can feed your family for a year. I have those videos there. I'm not doing that here. This channel is to bring some level-headedness, a sober mind, and let you know that the sky is not falling. There is a lot of things happening that can lead to the sky falling, but this is not that. So guys, I completely come against all these talking heads on YouTube that say that, it's the Hunger Games is starting, you're going to starve to death. It's just not the case. You aren't just going to starve to death because fertilizer prices are going up. There is issues in the stores right now with shelving, and I'm just going to keep saying this. I'm going to keep reiterating it. It is a transportation and marketing issue. It is the corporate farms, the corporate meat packers that are driving prices up, that is creating the inflation. You guys can sit there and blame Biden and the Democrat, whatever, all you want, but they are just that much responsible for it. It is the big bankers and the corporations with government in their pocket that is causing this. It is not Biden first and so on and so forth. I have in prior videos explained over and over how the meat packers are giving farmers the jack around shaft, denying them the right to send the ability to send their product to slaughter for 2-3 weeks so that they can create hysteria and drive up the prices. I've said this over and over again. And guys, I'm just going to say this, you YouTubers out there that are always saying the sky is falling with the farming and the agriculture, and now the fertilizer is going up and you're not going to be eat. You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. You're out there creating hysteria, which drives people, which listen, I'm a prepper. You should be a prepper, right? But there is preparations in wisdom, and then there is just panic buying. And doing videos that cause panic buying are part of the problem. There's a lot of cognitive dissonance, meaning people have tunnel vision for whatever view they have accepted as truth. And there's just as much cognitive dissonance in the conservative homesteading, farming, prepper world as there is in the leftist, Marxist, communist, race baiting world. It's the same. Some of us try to step outside those boxes and look at it from a different point of view, from a realistic point of view. There is challenges, and yes, there is threats, but this is not the end of your food supply. I'm going to reiterate this, and every time we talk about agriculture, we have so many climate zones. We have so many growing zones, different areas in the United States. It would take a cataclysmic event to create mass famine. Cataclysmic, people. We have dozens and dozens of multiple growing zones in the United States. There really is, Europe, there's Europe, they've got dozens and dozens, but they're separated. I shut that down. I apologize. I forgot to mute my stuff here. But Russia has got multiple growing zones. They're in a little higher climate, a little colder. So there's places like the Ukraine. The reason the Ukraine is the bread basket of Europe is just simply the terrain, the soil, where it exists on the map. But if you were to take the United States and put it over Europe, we fill the whole of Europe, and we've got multiple growing zones within that, in our own country, within our borders, guys. So understand, while there may be drought out west, and farms may be coming offline or going out of business because of drought there, that most of it is because of man and government policies. Or if there's flooding in the Southwest, there are farms and there is entrepreneurs coming online elsewhere in places that aren't having the effects of either man-made challenges or climate challenges. They're popping up all the time. I've encouraged people to get into farming because now is the time. COVID did one thing. It forced people to come out of the grocery stores, come out of the corporate-run grocery stores, corporate-run farm-supplied goods, and it's forcing them to go on the local level directly to the farmer, as you all should be. I don't care if you live in New York City. Get off your butt, take a train, a taxi, whatever, out of your town, go upstate New York, 100, 200, 300 miles, and talk to a farmer and buy your goods once a month. And yeah, and you in your little apartment in New York, you may have to get a little tiny chest freezer in there. You may have to put up a little pantry so you can have your canned goods or whatever to stockpile 1 month's worth of goods. But this is what anybody in a large city like New York, Chicago, Dallas, Detroit, whatever, should be doing, as well as you country folks out there. You country folks got no excuse. Now here in Wisconsin, if you live in the country, or even if you live in the city, you could be on the city limits and you can look out and see a farm. We have so many farms here. There's no excuse for anybody in a lot of states not to be buying off the farms. And guess what? Those farms that you choose to support, be it them that use chemical fertilizers or don't, are going to either survive, thrive, or they're going to have to adapt to what the people say how they should grow. That's the epitome of a free market, is you coming out from the banker-owned corporate system, going directly to the farmers. And if you've got 3 farmers on a 1 mile lot, right? And 1 mile, you got the first farmer who is just a regular Joe's Blow. He's using chemical fertilizer, chemical pesticide, this, that, and the other thing. You drive down the road, you've got another one that says, hey, I'm growing naturally, but I'm not organic certified. And sometimes I'll use a dust, you know, if I get a pest outbreak, because if I don't, within 48 hours, my crop could be gone. But we make sure to tell you if that's the case, if that happens. And then you go down a little further and they say, I'm organic certified. We absolutely do not use any fertilizer or pesticides, chemicals. Listen, you can choose. You can choose. Now, the organic certified guy is probably going to cost a little more. Why? Because they have regulations. They're heavily regulated in the organic circle by the state. They get inspected, and they have to pay fees to keep that organic certification. They also have to do things like this. Like, you can't even have it a treated post out in your field for your animals, like a corner post for your fencing that has, it's treated lumber, which means it wouldn't rot. You can't have that. So many of the organic certified farms, they have to go through, they have to take out those posts, they have to take out that infrastructure that anybody else normally would not do, and they have to put new in. So that's an expense. There's things they have to do to go above and beyond what people like me who aren't organic certified don't have to do. I have an open door policy. I tell you, I don't use chemical fertilizers or pesticides. But I have in the past, if there's been a really bad outbreak and I couldn't get it with diatomaceous earth, I would use like a number 7 dust for 24 hours. And then I go through and I get it off. Okay. But I got that open door policy. My customers are aware of that if that happens, and there's no chemical fertilizer that is being ran through water lines into the plant. I fertilize with animal manure, compost, and those things. I age it 2 to 3 years at a minimum. All these beds, okay, that you see here, this is my permanent raised bed system that I go through with a broad fork, and I pull back, I aerate it. I don't till it, I just aerate it. Gets covered in hay, then I plant. And there really is no need for chemical fertilizers, because number one, I've put my manured compost on here. There we've got fertilizer. Number two, I've got the hay that breaks down here, and that within 3 months is virtually gone. It suppresses the weeds, and then it's also sowing nitrogen back into the soil, and it's also promoting worms. You peel my beds up, there's just worms everywhere. I don't have to buy worms because I create an environment where they just come and they flourish. Okay. So guys, I talk about this all the time. Where is your power? Right? We don't have any power at the ballot box. It's rigged. It's rigged. We all know it. But your power is in your act, in your time, money, and talent, and your ability to boycott. That's the only sense of a free market that we have, is that you still have the choice to buy your food and your products where you choose. Eventually, the day may come where the government says you no longer can do that. And yes, the government, along with corporations, are doing everything they can to destroy the small family farm. That's why it's your obligation to secure your community and support a small family farmer. We can't blame this all on the corporations and government if you aren't out there and you aren't buying direct and you're not supporting. You have nothing to say about this topic if you're going to the Walmarts or the Aldis of the world and buying your produce, your vegetables, and your meats. You can't complain about this system if you're going to partake in it. Now, if you've tried to opt out of it, you're growing your own garden and doing the best you can, and you're buying your meat, God bless you. God bless you. But my point to this video is the sky is not falling today. Guys, think sober-minded about these things. You cannot let fear drive you to panic buying. And I completely rebuke and reject what a lot of these YouTube channels and talking people say about this. And I'm going to say this may offend you. Just because you have a garden doesn't mean you're a farmer. Okay. There is a difference between somebody who just grows, grows a garden and cans some vegetables for their family for the year, or has one little cow or a couple little goats, and somebody who actually produces for dozens or hundreds of families. There is a difference. There is a difference. And no matter where you stand, in that, whatever little bit you're doing for yourself is fantastic, is great. You're taking some responsibility for your family, and that is phenomenal. But guys, do not go out and buy chemical fertilizers because you're afraid they're going to run out. Don't do it. There are options that you have to gain natural fertilizers without doing that. One, you could lay down some hay, just like I did here, and simply, aerate the soil, lay down the hay, and you can plant directly in it and you'll grow just fine. You could keep laying hay 3 times a year on top of your beds, and that will produce enough nitrogen and enough good vitamins and minerals, and it'll feed that soil to create living soil so that you could be, chemical free. All right. Number 2, look around in your community. There's farms everywhere. There's usually piles of crap all over. Honest to God, ask my kids. I drive them crazy. The 2 things I do on a drive is if I see dead trees in somebody's yard or pasture or whatever, it just kills me that they haven't cut up that tree and used it for renewable heat. Drives me crazy. And if I see a good 6, 7, 8 foot, 30 foot wide manure pile, man, that is like brown gold to me. I can't believe it's just sitting out there. And I notice these things. But you can go to any farm, even a dairy farm who has a pit, ask them to push out the day's manure for you. Bring a trailer, tell them to put it in there. Go set it on your property. Let it compost for 2 years. Or go to a small sustainable farm. There's plenty of them out there that are composting manure, and get a truckload for your garden. There are options that you have there. There you can, Green Greg's, he has worms. You can get worms that create worm castings. You can also go to other businesses that specifically sell worm castings. And a lot of those are small family owned business where you'll get a bag about this big, and it is the most beautiful fertilizer, low, it won't burn anything. You can go to a rabbitry. You can go to people who own goats. Rabbit poop and manure and goat manure can go directly on your field or on your bed, as long as it's not touching your food. Okay. So like you could put it on the tomatoes, you could put it on the broccoli. I wouldn't put it on the beans because the beans could sag, the bean could touch, and then you have to worry about biological, biosecurity. Even though it won't burn the plant, you don't want your food touching fresh poop, if you know what I mean. So guys, I'm just going to say it again, keep a sober mind, walk in wisdom. And if you have fallen into the prepper, truther cognitive dissonance box, check yourself. Step outside of it, look at all sides, all points of view. And I'm looking at this price increase on chemical fertilizers as an opportunity for the American farmer to change their ways and start to farm more sustainable, as many already have. You know what? I don't care what type of farming it is. The average family farmer knows it's not sustainable. They know it. And even the farmers I know in their 50s who are 5-6 years out from retirement are still doing that. They're changing their model, their system for the next generation. So guys, just take this video for what it is, but you need to take a step back from some of these channels. Don't run out there. Don't buy chemical fertilizer. You can do it completely natural without having fear propagandized into your mind and into your heart. And you know what? Why would you want to give your money to the biotech industry? Why would you want to give your money to Monsanto? Why would you want to do these things? It's literally, to me, the definition of stupidity, just stupidity. So guys, I hope this video blesses you. I'm posting this on both of my channels, just so you know. Get out there, get them gardens planned now. Get your seeds now. Already in our local Fleet Farm and Tractor Supplies and all that stuff, there's plenty of seeds on the shelves. Start buying them now. They're not going to go bad. Start buying them now. Plan your gardens. Make it a goal this year so that you will produce 35% of your family's needs. Increase that every year by another 35% until you are at 100%. And guys, the impact that you will make on this beast system, as far as taking it down and destroying it, is just exponential. It is the greatest act you can do is to boycott and opt out of the system. Okay, guys. All right. God bless you all. Get out there, prep, pray, stay awake, do what you have to keep your family safe, but do not buy into the fear propaganda. Be sober-minded, folks. God bless you.